that let us increase the wage. Okay, so what we are saying is we will increase the wage. So earlier we had the quantity, let's say this was our wage function was this. Okay, let us try to work over here. Just 1 second. Okay. Right. So this is our quantity of supply. We have taken earlier wage as 15 per hour and we have got the quantity supplied and that function. Now let us say that the workers have demanded a higher wage. Let's say 25 per hour they are demanding. So what will the quantity supplied will become? Quantity supply will become 100 plus 500 into price minus 10 into 25. This is 350 and this is 100. So combination of both will become minus 450 plus you have 500 into price. Okay, so what happens is your quantity supplied has changed. Okay, let us see what they are taking. Okay, here we have taken the same concept and we had said that we would increase the supply. So we would change the dollar wage that we are paying to the workers. Let's say we change the wage that we are paying to the worker to 20. Okay, so this will become sorry, just 1 minute. So if you assume that the wage has changed to $25 per hour, okay, let's say quantity supplied will become minus 100 plus this will be 500 into price, this will become minus 10 into 25, this is 250 and minus 250 and this is minus 100. The combination of this will become minus 350 plus, so minus 350 plus 500 into P. This is the quantity supplied. Right, now we want to have price as a function of quantity, so we will move this side. So we will say that 500 into price is equal to 350 plus the quantity supplied, or price is equal to 1 by 500 into quantity plus 350 by 500. If you see, this equation will become equal to 0.0002 into quantity plus 0.7. Right. So what has happened is the price function has now changed. Instead, if you see that earlier the price function you had, it was equal to 0.5 over here. So the coefficient is remaining the same. Okay, the slope remains the same. Please note that this coefficient, this determines the slope of the line. The slope of the line is same, but the shift has happened. Instead of 0.5 you have 0.7, and that is what we are going to see in our next thing. Okay, so if you see over here, what we are saying is earlier this was my earlier curve. So 0.002 plus quantity supplied plus 0.5. This is 0.002 plus 0.7, right? So we had this as the old supply, this is the new supply. We want to see what is the impact. So this is our old curve and this is our new curve. So for supplying of one quantity, in the old curve you wanted 0.5 as the price. In the new curve you want 0.7 as the price. So your price has increased, and in fact you see that the difference between these two is how much? 0.2. Okay, so for all the units you will find that there will be exact difference of 0.2. So what we say is the supply curve is increasing by 0.2. So this was our earlier supply curve. You have a shift in the supply curve has happened. Please note that the shift is upside. Okay, the shift is up, or it is also called as the right. Okay, so there is a shift of the supply curve, sorry, to the left. So this is a shift to the left, right? So if you see, this is your original curve and you are saying that this has shifted to the left side, right? So you see that whenever this shift has happened to the left side, we are saying that the supply curve has shifted on the left and it has become costly for the supplier to supply the products. Okay, why it has become costly? Because the wage has become costly. So let us see that how this costly comes into play over here. So what do I mean by costly? Think about if the price was 1, okay, if the price was 1, okay, so earlier at $1, okay, the supplier was supplying you 300 quantity, but now because of the increase in his cost, for the same $1 he will provide you, let's say, only 150 as the quantity. So it is happening because the cost to the supplier has increased, right? So he want a higher price, so for the same price level he will supply lower quantity. So if the price is same, you will get supplied lower quantity. Or you can think of this, for the same quantity level, okay, earlier he was charging you, let's say, this as the price, so he was charging you, let's say, 0.75. Now for the same quantity he is charging you now the higher price, okay? It is because his cost has increased. So this is actually a shift in the supply curve and not the movement, okay? So there is a shift on the left side or upside, and when this shift is happening, we say that supply has reduced. This we are saying that supply has reduced. Why? Because you can see that you have lower quantity supplied for the same price level. So please note that the shift can only happen when there is a change in the input cost, okay, let's say wages, etc., right? And movement will happen if there is a change in the price, own price, correct? These are the two things we had seen in the demand also, now we have them in the supply also, right? So that is what we have covered, okay? Known here, the when there is a own price change, movement, okay, if the wage level changes, okay, so you find that wage level has changed, so shift in the curve, quantity decreases at the same price level, this is referred as the change in the supply, right? And the new question to you for your homework is, what would be the new demand function when the wage has changed to $10 per hour? Now when the wage has changed to $10, it means that there is a decrease in the cost level, so the supplier will be willing to supply more at the same quantity level. So theoretically I can explain what we are saying is, so there will be a new curve like this, okay, so there is a decrease in the cost, so for the same price level you will see that he will be willing to supply more and more quantity, okay. Okay, so that you should do as a homework, okay. So this is our changes in the demand curve that we have seen, okay, right? So please note that we have now covered the curve shift for both the demand and the supply. So this is your next LOS, okay. So here in this LOS we are asking you what are the causes of the shift in and the movement along the demand and supply. So we have seen that the movement along the supply and the demand, it depends on the own price. However, the shift, okay, so what causes the demand curve shift, okay? So the demand curve shift, it is happening because of these factors when there is a change in the income level, okay. So when a change in the income level has happened, if the income has increased, there is a more demand, or when there is a change in the price of the substitute or change in the price of the complementary good, right? So what we have is, if let's say income increases, you see an increase in the demand. So this is our original demand curve, let's say denoted by DO, okay. And when there is a change in the income level, increase in the income level, you find that there is an increase in the demand, so we shift to the right. So please note that increase in the demand is a right shift, okay. So you see a right shift, okay. And when the price of the substitute increases, again you see increase in the demand. When the price of the complementary good decreases, then you see increase in the demand, right? Now with regards to the income level, when the income decreases, okay, people are not able to afford the goods, so they will demand lower quantity, so there is a decrease in the demand, okay. So when the income is reduced, there is a decrease in the demand. When the price of substitute decreases, let's say coffee price, it decreases, there is a decrease in the demand. Let's say price of complementary good increases, let's say if the price of milk increases, people will use less of tea, right? So you will find that there is a decrease in demand. Let's say this is a D2, right? So decrease in the demand is called as your shift towards the left side, okay. So you will find that these are the shifts, okay. So these are the factors, that primary factors that the shift will depend on, okay. Let us see now what are the factors which will cause the shift in the supply curve. Okay, so shift in the supply curve will happen because of the wage levels. Okay, we have seen. Then raw material price, because those are also the factors of production. So raw material price is also happening, and then there's a increase in the rentals, etc. Right? There's just a change in the diagram. So what we have is, okay, so because of the supply curve shifting, so because of the changes in all this, the supply curve will shift. So what we see is there's a change in the supply curve. So let's say this is your initial supply curve. If the wage has increased, what we say is the supply curve will move to the left. Okay, so this is a left move or upward move. Okay, and we say that it is decrease in the supply. So whenever you have shift in the left, okay, so there's an increase in the wage, increase in the raw material, increase in the rentals, etc. All of this will cause decrease in the supply, and then you have a increase in the supply when all of this decreases. So you see there's a right shift or down shift, right? And that is an increase in the supply. Correct? We have seen this earlier also.